Released originally in 1999 for the PC as Wild Metal Country, later released in 2000 for the SEGA Dreamcast as Wild Metal, which is the version you're seeing now on screen. Developed by DMA Design and published by Infogrames for North America on PC, and by Gremlin Interactive on European regions on PC, and published digitally for PC and the SEGA Dreamcast by Rockstar Games. Wild Metal is set in the distant future in the vast reaches of space where machines went out of control and have driven the human population off 3 planets in the Theric system. You're sent in to claim back the lost planets from the machines and collect the lost power cores. During gameplay at the bottom right of the screen, you'll see these different colors. These are the power cores you have to collect on each level, which are easy enough to find since they glow and are usually heavily guarded. Once they've been collected, you can proceed to the next level. The game also does feature multiplayer, but this review will be based purely on the single-player aspect of the game, as I don't really have anyone to play with. But is Wild Metal any good? Let's find out first with the good. Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 had a pretty terrible control scheme. Thankfully and surprisingly, Wild Metal doesn't. You control your movement with the analog stick and adjust your weapon using the left and right triggers, and fire by pressing A or holding down A to adjust the height, and you can adjust the camera up and down with B and Y. It worked surprisingly well, and I was able to pull off some long-range weapon fire with only a few minutes of playing and getting used to the controls. I also imagine this game is pretty fun with split-screen multiplayer and going against one another with different types of robots, but I wouldn't know. Speaking of which, the game also does have different types of robots to utilize and fight against. Each control and move differently for the most part, my favorite being the Manta, simply because the weapon and overall design of it is more lower to the ground, which I found to be extremely helpful when getting up close and personal, unless you flip over. On that note, let's now discuss the bad. The worst thing about Wild Metal is the lack of any kind of presentation. From the moment you start the game up and get past the logos, you're greeted with a dull menu screen with no music whatsoever. To then starting up a new game for the first time, there's no cutscenes, story, or any kind of context. You select a vehicle and away you go. I had no idea what I was even doing or what all these markers were on my screen the first time playing this. There isn't any kind of tutorial or text or mission objective, and of course, like the main menu, the gameplay is also completely devoid of any music. So after driving around and shooting things for 20 minutes, listening to ambient sounds, I picked up all the glowy things and then proceeded to the next level. The only information you have about the plot I talked about earlier, about robots driving away humans from these planets and such, is from a single page found in the manual of the game. So as you can already imagine, this game gets very boring very quickly. The environments you play in are all bland and lifeless wastelands. The only thing I found interesting graphically was seeing the tracks left behind from your robot as you drive. As for technical issues, I didn't really notice any bugs or glitches during my roughly 3 or so hours spent with this game, and that's a plus. But the camera at times can be a bit of a mess, especially when you're boxed into small areas. But now it's time I give the opinion. Wild Metal is anything but wild. It's a pretty bland game overall due to the lack of anything compelling to keep you playing. I can see this maybe being fun with some friends, but trying to play this game by myself almost put me to sleep. You pretty much aimlessly drive around shooting anything else that moves and collect things. That is every level in this game. So unless you enjoy this kind of thing, then I really can't recommend it. But now it's time for the rating.
I appear to have invented a knife-wielding tentacle.
If you enjoyed today's review, feel free to check out our other videos and subscribe for more. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and our Facebook page. Thank you for watching.